Well, hello there, fellow geeks and geekettes. Welcome to yet another review video. I've got a time for a quick one because I need to go elsewhere. Now, I told you in my last video that lately I've been rereading the, well, almost every Batman comic book I could get my hands on as far as the chronological order goes, and the X-Men by Chris Claremont. But there's one more thing that is connected with the X-Men by Chris Claremont, and that is the New Mutants, and the X-Factor, and the Excalibur, and Alpha Flight. Basically, whenever there is an event or a crossover, you need to read a bit, more. You need to read some other titles than just the Uncanny X-Men. And such is the case with The Fall of the Mutants, which is one of the greatest crossovers events of the 1980s, or the late 1980s, as far as the X-Men goes. Now, I have read a good chunk of the New Mutants line, or the run, the first 100 issues run, which was fantastic. And yes, I liked the New Mutants before they were cool, or before they were made into the movie, which was delayed anyway. But I didn't, I just forgot, and then I remembered when I was rereading this particular trade paperback, which is the well, not entire Fall of the Mutants story, because there are more issues connected with this storyline, and also more titles that are involved in it, such as The Incredible Hulk or Daredevil. I believe there are even some Spider-Man issues, if I'm not wrong. But I forgot that I really started loving the New Mutants when I reached the Fall of the Mutants storyline, which is for the New Mutants, it's issues 59 to 61, really. And especially because of two things. Because of the story, because of the writing of Louis Simonson, and the art of Brett Blevins. Now, the Fall of the Mutants storyline revolves around, well, the X-Men team, such as was at the time fighting basically a god from, we could say, the Native American mythology. He's called the Trickster, right? And he wants to, well, basically take over the world, rule the world, and he wants to use two of the mutants as means to reach his goal, and they are Ororo, or Storm, and Forge. But, of course, they get the help, firstly, of themselves, and secondly, of the rest of the team. Spoilers, I suppose. The X-Men, of course, win, although being hated by the entire world, as they usually are, for just being mutants. So they save the world, and they are seemingly dead. So they seemingly die. They seemingly put their lives in stake and sacrifice their lives for the survival of the world and humanity. But so it happens that they are not really dead, and they are sent to the outback, and they will be gone now from the scene for a bit. And the next story is Inferno, which I'm going to start reading tonight, and I'm looking forward to that. So before I do that, I wanted to say a few words about the New Mutants issues 59, 60, and 61, because a couple of issues earlier, the New Mutants, they rescued in the story a character that was called Bird Boy, and they then named him Bird Brain. It was some sort of a creature that was created by this Dr. Moreau-ish character, a mad scientist on an island. So through well, science, the science, and mutation and experiments on well, creatures, he created these sort of mutated half human, half animal characters, and one of them escaped and then was imprisoned in Alcatraz and then rescued by the New Mutants. So they took care of him then. They brought him to the school of Charles Xavier for gifted youngsters, and they taught him to speak. They taught him to, well, basically behave like a human being. But then he wanted to save his friends, the Bird Boy, and he escaped. He wanted to get to the island where this Dr. Moreauish character was creating those creatures, and so the New Mutants followed him, and they got to the island, and there was a huge fight because they, of course, them being heroes, they wanted to rescue all the poor creatures that were only, being experimented upon and ultimately killed or tortured. So yeah, the heroes just have to save the day, right? But there is a lesson to be learned there. At the time, the headmaster of the Charles Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters was Magneto, and he forbade them to leave the school because they didn't listen to him earlier, right? They went to a party and they made some mess, right? So he told them not to go anywhere. They were grounded and they were to be just learning for exams or studying for exams. Well, then they left anyway and tried to rescue, as I said, the animals or animal mutants, during which one of the, and now huge spoiler, of a book that is more than about 30 years old already. One of them died. Doug dies. He is shot. He's by a robot soldier because he, well, puts his life for Rani. There was no, actually it was the mad scientist who shot him, because the mad scientist wanted to shoot Rani, and well, Doug stepped into the way of the bullet and he died. Well, what I liked about that is the reaction of Illyana Rasputin, who is my favorite New Mutant character. She, being both a mutant and a dark sorceress, being raised in Limbo, which is basically some sort of hell, by demons, and she being the leader of the demons from Limbo, she had a very specific reaction, and I loved this particular scene in combination with the art of Brett Blevins. So she got very angry, she went to the Limbo, and she got transformed into this demon looking like very hot, very attractive looking character. So she summoned her fiery sword, she went into the Limbo, she transformed into this. Look at the artwork, look at this. You do not see this kind of artwork today. Firstly, the artists are afraid of portraying female characters as beautifully as this. Secondly, they are too lazy to be drawing everything by hand, and by coloring, and too lazy to color everything by hand. And the writers are too, well, not talented to write such good stories and good scripts as this. So she takes some of the soldiers to the Limbo to be tortured and tormented by demons for eternity. And then, of course, she comes back and she continues to mourn Doug and Doug's death and be very, very sad and angry about that. So not only do I like this fierceness and this beauty of Illyana Rasputin, but I also love the reactions of the other people, which, of course, are appropriate as far as what happened. They are showing that they are true people, true humans, and Brett Blevins was able to depict the suffering of each individual mourner beautifully. But what I also liked, and I don't know if these issues are collected here or I have them somewhere else, because I think that those issues belong to the story arc or to those that precede those that are collected in this particular collection, because in this milestones, only those that are specifically connected with the Fall of the Mutant story are collected. So I don't think there are these. Alright, they are not. So the story begins, as far as the New Mutants, with the New Mutants making, preparing themselves for going to a party. And first we see the girls getting dressed, and then we see boys getting dressed. And when the girls are getting dressed, they are of course picking clothes that are suitable for girls, which is, you know, long dresses and beautiful jackets and these things that you put on your legs and are like fishnets, thing like that. Specifically 80s female fashion. So the girls wanted to look like girls, and they wanted to look like girls because they wanted to be attractive for boys, and the other way around as well. The boys wanted to look beautiful or handsome, so they, you know, are attractive in the eyes of the girls, and that's very human, and that's very it's normal, I would say. You can't read about this stuff anymore because people, SJWs really, would call this being gender oppressive, because girls, you know, want to look like girls. They wouldn't like it. Well, I like this, you know. I like people being depicted as normal human beings, and when there are scenes about, you know, from the like normal life of these people, their life is depicted in the way that, you know, people truly are or were at the time. And when they are getting involved in adventures and trials and tribulations, somebody like Brett Blevins comes in and draws these magnificent action scenes of New Mutants fighting mutants and demons and villains, and I absolutely adore his depiction of Magneto. Look at that, right? So yeah, that is when, and this is Rani. Look at her. Look at the sorrow in her eyes. So New Mutants issues 59 to 61. It is when I fell in love with the New Mutants completely and absolutely, and it is probably my favorite like chunk of the first run of the New Mutants, which is the first 100 issues from the 1980s. So what do you think, my friends? Have you read some of the New Mutants before the movie came out, or have you read some of the X-Men Milestones titles that are coming out and very popular nowadays? Let me know in the comments down below. That will be all from me. See you soon. Bye.